Okay, so everyone keeps asking me about my mini split and my solar setup, so I'm going to show you guys exactly what I have and how I did it. This is my first solar install, and also this was actually my second mini split install. But you want to pick a really high SEER rating, something like this. It's a 21 SEER, so that's your efficiency rating. It uses very little power. If you look, max current is only 8.6 amps. That's when it's all the way up on actually max on this is 11 amps. My bad. And that would be 991 watts. Compressor pulls 5.6 max. Little motor 45 watts. Blah blah blah. So I ran my line set, and I did install this backwards, and I did it on purpose for two reasons. Number one is there are very little benefits to exhausting hot air more than 6-8 inches away. It doesn't do anything. The main thing was because I didn't want little kids sticking their fingers in the fan. Those fan blades will take little nubs right off, and I also wanted to be able to clean my fins without pulling everything apart. So my line set comes out, goes straight down, goes underneath, comes out here into the line hide, goes straight up and right through the wall. Come inside. This is a 40-foot with 8-foot ceilings. Mini splits running on the wall, 67 degrees, nice cold air. Boom, boom. I'll take you back to the solar. So I installed a 48 volt system. I have 4 lithium ion, it's all Renogy. I have 4 Renogy lithium ion batteries. This AC we just turned on, and we are pulling a total of, you can see that live. Let me see if that will focus. 1596 watts. So with the AC on max, and it's the way these AC units work, they're inverter technology, so they ramp the motor speed, and the compressor ramps up and down according to how much draw the AC system is pulling. So when you first turn them on, if it's, right now today, it's almost 100% humidity outside and it's 80 degrees. We have completely overcast skies with absolutely no sun whatsoever. If you take a look, it's cloudy. Cloudy all around. We have no sun. Cloudy all around. I have 3,000 watts of solar on the roof. I have 2 separate arrays. I have a large array with 8 big panels that put out 275 watts apiece. And then I have 6 100 watt panels that are on a separate array. So I have a separate charge controller for the 6 100 watt panels, and I have them set up that way on purpose so that one of them runs at a higher voltage with a lower amperage to charge the batteries when there's less sun on overcast days like right now. We can split this up. Let me show you this. Hopefully you guys can read this. Let me see if I can. There you go. So my main Renogy controller with my charge controller and my inverter built in, we're putting out a total of 12.9 amps. We are charging at 769 watts. Battery voltage is 50. Discharge amps 15.8. That's our main. The secondary charge controller is putting out 201 watts and 2 amps. So let's see. So I have a 60 amp Renogy charge controller that shows right now charging at 196 watts, 3.6, 3.7 amps. That is the smaller controller that has 6 100 watt panels connected to it. Those come in right through here, go right across. Sorry if my recording is going crazy. This is my first director's cut. Just found out my phone could do it. So 48 volt systems are much more efficient than 12 volt systems. A lot of people are like, oh, you can't run a 48 volt system. How are you going to charge my 12 volt stuff? How do you invert it? Blah, blah. You don't need to. You just do what I did. Just install a transfer switch. I put a manual transfer switch in. Whenever I'm on solar, which is driving down the road, or anytime when I'm not at a hookup or I'm not running the generator, it's on number 1. If I go to 0, it shuts off power to everything. It's basically an open circuit. If I go over to 2, that's for shore or generator. That basically makes my plug on the outside of the camper work just like factory. That inverter is sending power directly through the 50 amp system that this trailer came with from the factory. Just like it was plugged into shore power, we are not plugged in whatsoever. We're running off of nothing but battery and solar. Now, when you look at the numbers for what I'm usually using when this thing is in a resting state, we're pulling around 400 watts between the fridge, all the other stuff that's on, the alarm system, the cameras. Yeah, we have security cameras and an alarm. All the residual power, all of the leftover that gets pulled is around 400 watts. We can run with that inverter up to 7,000 watts peak for 2 minutes, and it consistently will run 3,500 watts. So the mini split on the front will pull on average 600 watts. So it'll pull around 1,000 watts when you first fire it up until it gets the temperature back to within 2 degrees of where you're asking. So right now we're asking for 67 degrees. I'm gonna guess we're probably around 70. Hold on. I think we're probably even warmer. Yeah, we're at 83 right now because we just turned it on. So 83 degrees, that means that thing is going to be at 100%. It's going to run ramped 100%. It's going to pull probably 1,500 watts, maybe, if it's peaking out. It'll pull that until that temperature starts to come down pretty close to what you're asking to. When it gets to within 5 degrees, actually it'll consistently ramp down as your compressor and your temperature get closer. Your draw will go way, way down. That's the beauty of the inverter system compared to these stupid roof units, which they pull around 16 to 1800 watts, and there's just no in between. When they're on, if they're on high, you either run them high or low, but if they're on, if the AC is running, you're pulling between 16 and 1800 watts. There's not a battery system around that's going to be able to draw 1800 watts for very long. Even in a sunny day, you're putting out on this thing, we have 3,000 watts of solar, so we're probably putting out around 26, maybe 2,800. There's always some loss. So if you're pulling, I mean, even one roof unit, you're pulling 1,800 watts, your battery bank is going to get drawn down with any residual that you have going as far as your parasitic draw. So we've ramped down, we're down to 1548 watts. That's what we're pulling. With the AC, with the mini split on, we're pulling 1548. About 400 of that is our parasitic draw. That's with the fridge and all the other stuff. So that mini split is already down to pulling just over 1,000 watts, which is very little compared to one roof unit that's going to pull 16 to 1,800 whenever it's on. So we've come down 2 degrees since I turned it on right when I started the video, which was 8 minutes ago. And we're asking for 67 degrees, so that thing's going to be peaked 100% of its draw. And that's that. Say hi, Ash.
Hi.
There you go.